Hello. Hello, how are you today? This is Joanne Hewins. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I am happy to have you for my Facebook Live today. All right. Well, I can see that I'm on. It's not letting me go to a larger picture where I can see the comments, but I see from looking at my phone that Faith and Jean are here, and I'm hoping that means that you can hear me, and I appreciate you being here. Good to see both of you, or know that you're both there. Today we're going to be doing the Wild Roses background stamp, and that is in the January-June mini catalog, and it is on page 30, and it's right down here in the corner. You might miss it if you're not looking for it, so just wanted to point that out to you. And I just started using this last week, and I have really enjoyed what I've done. Let me also remind you that Celebration is going on now. Celebration this year is just in January and February, so it's already half over. And don't get caught thinking that you have March to do your ordering for free Celebration items. Just want to remind you of that. There's some great things in here, and you don't want to miss out. Last week we worked with the friendly flamingos. I made a couple of cards with that, and I did draw a name. Sherry Summers will be getting those cards. I've got it ready to take up to the post office for Sherry, so I hope that you will enjoy that. So Monday I had this card on my blog. My blog is lovetocreate.typepad.com, and I really loved how this came out. We're actually going to make this card, but we're going to be using some different colors. So I just wanted you to see how easy this comes together. So we're going to be using Night of Navy, Poppy Parade, and Granny Apple Green. I'm going to tell you though, it's not as pretty as these colors together. This is Bermuda Bay, Gorgeous Grape, and Magenta Madness on these three. Hey Tina, how are you? So I'm going to pull in just some scrap paper and use that because it kind of makes a mess. We're going to be using today the blending brushes, and they are in the mini catalog. I'm hoping that they'll go over. I felt for sure that those will go over into the annual catalog too. And let me bring in, this is the card we're going to make, and I'm just going to set it aside for a moment, and I'm going to bring in the Stamparatus. When you have such a large stamp, I think you're wise to use the Stamparatus to stamp. That way you can stamp it more than once if you need to, which I did have to stamp these more than once. And you can, it just makes it a lot easier to handle it. Now I've gone ahead and stamped the background for this. We are going to stamp some backgrounds in a few moments, but for this one I just went ahead. I've got a piece of the thick Whisper White, and it is 4 1/4 by 11, and I have scored it in the middle at 5 1/2. So let me get my bone folder, and I'll just burnish that quickly. And then this is the background that I stamped with the Night of Navy pad. This paper is just a tiny bit smaller than the background or the base. So this is actually 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I wanted just a little bit of the white, but not a lot. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to get this card done, how quick. So I'm going to start with my Granny Apple Green. I'm going to bring in my green brush, and I'm just going to pick up some of that. I'm going to kind of tap it and get some of that off, and then we're just going to start from the edge, start off of it a little bit, and then we're just going to add the color to itself. You can't take it off, but you can keep adding. So I'm just going to keep adding until I get that kind of darker, because I do want some good color in there. There we go. Hey, Tanya, I'm having trouble seeing the comments again today. I can see it when I can make my screen go large on my computer, and this week it's not letting me do that again for some reason. But I can kind of look up and see who's on. I also cut a small piece. This is 2 inches by 4 1/8. And I've already stamped that. And I hope this isn't making the camera shake too much. If it is, there's really not anything much I can do with my setup. Okay, so I'm going to now go to the Night of Navy. And what I've done with my brushes is I have one that I'm using for greens. This one is going to be for darker blues. This one's going to be for deeper reds or pinks, the deeper colors. So I'm going to use for more than one color. Now this is Night of Navy. It looks purple, but it is Night of Navy. And the background is stamped in the Night of Navy. You can see it's not as hard to get a little bit darker color with this the darker color. That just makes sense, doesn't it? And the smaller piece, of course, is going to go on the inside of the card. So we'll just lay that aside, and we will do our Poppy Parade. Poppy Parade's one of those colors that I get all over me. You know how there's a certain few, and this is one for me. So we'll see how I do with that. So there's our 3 colors. And then one of the things that I wanted to show you with this one is that I'm going to use some of the shimmer mist on this card. So I'm going to go ahead and spray. I have this in one of the spritzers. It's filled with alcohol, and I think what I've used was the 70%. I think you can get a higher percentage that would dry a little faster. And then I added some of the champagne shimmer paint into this and just kept shaking it up until it looked about like what I wanted it to be. And I'm a little bit spritzer challenged. I have a hard time making that go where I want it to go, so we'll see. But I'm just going to spritz that, and it does kind of go up, and I've been kind of heavy-handed with it. So I'm going to let that dry for a little bit, and I think I'm just going to kind of set that aside and talk to you for a minute about the bow. Actually, I want some scrap for that also, so I'm just going to set that aside and bring this back in. But because that spritz gets everywhere, kind of like glitter, I'm going to turn that inside out. And I'm using the Whisper White seam binding, the crinkle seam binding, and I am coloring it with the Poppy Parade blends. So I've already got one colored, and I'm just going to use my bow tie tire. I don't think you can see that so good from the from above, but I just want to tie this real quick. And then I'll show you how we colored the other. Okay, I'll just slide that off and set that aside. And then for the other, here it is, right in front of my face. We're going to need enough that will go around the card. So I'm just going to kind of measure that. And then I'm going to bring in my dark Poppy Parade marker, and we'll color that quickly. Poppy Parade is not one of my most favorite colors. People who know me know that the brights are not my favorite thing. I don't know what that says about me. Okay, so I'm going to also show you that I have already done this sentiment. This sentiment comes from the Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set. I just got this and I was looking for a sentiment to use, and these sentiments are wonderful. This says, "Happy birthday to my beautiful friend." And you are unique and completely amazing. That can be used at any time without seashells. So those are the ones that I'm going to use today. I cut that out with the Ornate Frames dies. I use this die right here. We'll be using that on another card today as well. Okay, so I'm going to bring in, hopefully this is dry enough, and I think I'm going to bring in some of this old snail. Please excuse me for having something that is no longer available. And I'm going to put that on the front of the card. I think I'll turn that. Can you see the shimmer that's on there? Okay. And I'm actually just going to turn this over and do that this way. Okay. And I am going to also use a lot of Scotch tape when I'm doing ribbons. I'm going to attach this ribbon right in here. And it's going to go all the way around. And we'll tape it the same place. And this is going to be underneath the tag. And when I attach the tag, I want to use dimensionals, and you want to put these up toward the edge. Just cut some of these. So I'm going to put these at the edge. This is going to help it adhere to something besides the ribbon. If it just adheres to the ribbon, it's not going to be quite as stable. Okay, so I'm going to put this here, and then we'll add our bow with a glue dot. I'm just going to put that on there and fold back where it sticks out, and then this is going to go right in there. We'll cut that, and you can see how quickly that came together. Okay, and then I took some of the elegant faceted gems, and I colored those with the blends. So I've got one done, and let me go ahead and color a couple others. Looks like I've got some kind of fuzz on the tip there. Hello, Deborah Wilson. How are you? Okay. Now I should wait for that to dry just a little bit. I'll go ahead and put this one on here, and then we'll hope these are dry enough. I'll just add a couple like that. And then on the inside of this card, we're going to stamp the stamp that says, it's upside down, "You are unique and completely amazing." Who would not love to get that saying on a card? So let me stamp that in there quickly. And I stamped that in the Night of Navy. And then we'll just glue in the, or I'll just tape it, the little panel that we made. We'll go like that. And we are done. Okay. Hold on just a moment. Okay, so there's the first card that we did, and then this is the one that I had on my blog post, partial to this one. Okay, the next card that we're going to work on also is using our background stamp that we're working with, but this time I am going to stamp my background on a piece of wood paper, and this is from the In Good Taste. I didn't think I was going to think of that. The In Good Taste paper, it has this on the back of it, and I really have gone ahead and stamped. So this is the way our paper is going to look. And I did stamp this with the Memento Black, and I did use the Stamparatus that we talked about a while ago to stamp this. And I just think that's pretty, just the way it is. So we are going to stamp just a saying on this piece for the inside of the card. So this is from the In Bloom stamp set. And I'm just going to stamp that right up in here. And that will go on the inside of the card. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to have a piece of basic black. It is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue this on. And I just felt like this gave that stamp set a very, very different look. Maybe you have a male friend who needs a card, and maybe, yes, maybe they would like flowers, but not real flashy, colorful flowers. And then I'm going to be using the linen thread with this. I'm going to tape that again about there, and I'm going to wrap this around twice. And let me just move that down a little bit. I'm just going to tape that there and cut my thread. And then hopefully that's going to be okay. I do have ink all over my hands. I told you I did that with the Poppy Parade. So I have done actually the very same saying as I did before. But I did do it on a piece of the print of the paper, the designer paper. So I'm going to again put my dimensionals up near the edge. I've got some little pieces on this side. So a lot of this card is the same. That's why I was trying to kind of go quickly. Things are sticking to me today. So I'm going to put this in the middle of the card. And then I'm going to put this right on the inside. And I am going to go back and look at your comments a little later. I'm sorry that I just can't see them right now. And I'm going to tie my own little bow for this. I'm going to take one piece like this, and then I'm just going to hope this works. But I'm going to hold a piece and go around a couple of times. And then I'm going to go around these fingers couple of times, and then I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to try to push it down so that those loops are in the middle, and it's not going to be a super neat bow, I can see. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to wrap it around a few times. And I'm going to wrap this one around a few times. And then I'm going to tie. I think I went too many times around with that one. This might be a disaster. But you know, if you don't try something, you just don't know if it's going to work or not, do you? So, okay. So I was hoping that I could pull that. That really is a disaster, isn't it? It worked better when I made this one. But, maybe that'll be fine. Okay, so I'm going to put a glue dot on the back of that. Here they are. And then I'm just going to put it right under here. And I'm not going to take the time to keep playing with that, but I think you could, and it would work out okay. And I'm going to take my bone folder and just pull on that and curl it a little. And then I think I can get this end and maybe curl it a little. And we'll trim that one. Okay, now I'm going to add some of the gold glitter enamel dots to this one, but I wanted, actually, I think I may not add that to these because you can see that here. But I did bring out these little ladybugs. They are the ladybug trinkets. And I started thinking about how cute that would look on there. And I'm down to the end of my glue dots. I'm just going to stick him right on a glue dot. And put him, that glue dot piece, sorry. Stick it under there good. And I want to put him on this card. So maybe I'll put him there. So what do you think? Do you like the ladybugs, or do you like the gold glitter? I'm having a terrible time with my adhesives today. But I'll put that there. And I guess we're supposed to have threes, aren't we? So let me add that. And then I'll find a place up in here that maybe it'll show up. And we'll have our three ladybugs on there. So there's a little bit of difference in the two here. So you have the ladybugs and the gold enamel dots. Okay, now we have one more card that we're going to do. This one is the one that is going to take the longest, and it's a really, really pretty card. I have to give credit to Mary Detheridge of Stamps and Lingers because she did this card, a video with this card the other day, and I just thought it was really nice, and I wanted to show you. So I'm kind of copying her, and you may have already seen it, but we're going to do our stamping for this one. So I'm going to pull in the card that we're going to make. We're going to be using blending brushes with this one as well. And the card that we're going to make is this one. And I did use different colors than the ones that Mary used on hers. So maybe it's a little something different for you. But I thought that turned out really, really nice. But I have to say it's a little labor intensive. So we'll get started. Now I'm also going to use some of the faceted gems for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and color. And I'm doing this with the dark Blackberry Bliss. And that will give that a little bit of time to dry. So I'll set that aside. Okay, and I will set this card aside. Now, this is a little bit like the triple stamping that you might have seen done in the past. And usually when we do the triple stamping, you will have 3 pieces of paper. Now, I will have this on my blog on Saturday, and I will have the measurements for this. Hey, Sandy Herman. But this one is 4 by 5 1/4, and then they each go down an inch. So this is 3 by 4 1/4 and 2 by 3 1/4. And usually when you triple stamp, you will lay these pieces one on top of the other. You may adhere them so that they stay together, and you stamp them all at one time. But I'm not going to do that today because it's not going to work so well to do that with our all the things that we're going to do. So I have instead taken my a piece of grid paper, and I have marked where the first piece would go. I put pencil lines around each corner where they would go. And then I did the same thing for this piece. And then I did the same thing for this piece. Okay? We do want, when our card is put together, we do want the designs, like this flower is all together. The design still is a full, you can see that petal goes over into that. It's still a full design. Okay? So I'm going to start with my larger piece, and I'm going to put just a tiny piece of snail right there to kind of hold that. And my first piece is this dark one, the Blackberry Bliss. So let me get my pads. We're going to be using Just Jade, Blackberry Bliss, and then Blushing Bride. I thought those were real pretty together. So Blackberry Bliss is one of the other colors that I get all over myself when I'm stamping. So I'll add to all the Poppy Parade that I've got. So I'm just going to put this under here. I'm going to pull in just a stamp pad to put under there to keep that even. And I'm just going to stamp up this. And I did have to stamp a couple of times to get a good dark image on everything. So I'm going to put that down. Okay. So that's how pretty the stamp works. I didn't let you see it until now. Susan Hunsucker, hello. Okay, and I'm going to do one more layer of the Blackberry Bliss. After all of this, I probably need to re-ink. So this is the Wild Roses background stamp. It's on page 30 of the mini catalog, if you haven't noticed it. Okay, isn't that pretty? So I'm going to close up my Blackberry Bliss for now, and I'm going to, I'm looking for my Take Your Pick tool. I'll just use this. I'm going to lift that up. Now really and truly, the center of this is going to be covered up, so you don't really have to worry so much about the center. I'm going to set that out of the way. And the bad thing about this is you've got to clean in between each of your layers. So I've got my chamois, and I expect this to be messy. I did just wash it out, hoping that that would help. Oops. Okay, that's not too bad, is it? Okay, I'll move that out of the way, and we're going to get our smaller piece of paper when I see what I did with it. Here it is. And let me again push that. Okay, I've got that in my pencil marks, and I still have a little bit of the paper or the tape under there. And we're going to use the Just Jade. And I'm going to do one more layer of that. And notice I don't have to worry about the edges as much on this because it's a smaller piece of paper. Okay, I'm going to lift that up and set it aside. I'm going to have to put that back in the corner. Okay, we'll pick up our chamois and we'll clean this off. Now, when I am done with stamping something like this, I usually take my Stamparatus apart. I just pull this part up and off, and I go to a sink and just clean my stamp that way. And that way I know I've gotten everything off and good. All right, so now we're going to be using our smaller piece, and we're using the Blushing Bride. And I really just need to get the center part of that. And I'm sorry if you're saying stuff that I should reply to. I can't stand up and look at all of that right now. So be patient with me. After everything's over, I will go back and read. And I'm not going to take the time to clean this right now, but I am going to move over and use, I've got another board for the saying on this, and I'm going to put this back in there. I am using a saying from one of the celebration sets. This is the Heal Your Heart, And what I'm using says, wishing I could heal your heart. So I'm going to ink that up with the Blackberry Bliss. And I think it's okay to do that before I do my blending. We'll see. I think I blended first when I was making the card. And I have this over to the side a little bit because I'm going to tie a bow. And you can see the Stamparatus is good for this because, because I can stamp it more than one time. And I hope I haven't moved it. And get that good and dark. Okay? So there's that. And I'll clean that in a little bit. All right, so now we're going to go back and do some more of the blending with our blending brushes. I'm going to bring my scrap back in, and we're going to bring in this piece, and we're using Blackberry Bliss, and I'm just going to kind of tap off some, and we really only have to do around the outside edges. Because the rest is going to be covered up. Okay, so we are done with that. So I will bring in the Just Jade piece, and we will blend that. And again, we really just have to do the outside edges. I love how smooth these blending brushes work. Now, I will tell you that I'm still working with the Whisper White. You can't get that anymore. Now it's the basic white. It is pretty much the same, I think, as far as the smoothness. There might be a tiny bit of difference in there. It is a little bit of a bluer white, but it's not that different. So there's that piece. And then I'll use the Blushing Bride. Now to clean this, I haven't washed them. I have heard of some people washing them. I'm just going to go back and just get off as much as I can, because I told you I'm going to use other lighter greens with that as well. Okay. So this one will color over the whole piece. Okay. Now, just as we do in the triple timing, we have some pieces that will fit behind each of our other pieces. So let me first put down this piece, and I think that I'm going to use the snail just because this has lasted a pretty good while, and I think it might be just maybe a tad faster. And I want to make sure. Okay, that goes that way. I wanted my words to be facing the right direction. Okay, so this piece will go here, and as I said, I'll have my measurements on my blog post on Saturday. These Blackberry Bliss pieces are just going to be 1/8 of an inch bigger all the way around. Let's see how that one will go this way. Okay, so I'm trying to match up. I'm trying to get it in the center, and I'm also trying to match up the flowers, and I'm kind of looking, gosh, that's a little bit lower. I'm just going to have to do it like this, I think. Okay, and then this one will go on here, and this one will go on dimensionals. Hey, Sue. And we're going to be using the Blackberry Bliss sheer ribbon that's in this mini catalog, and I'm going to try to tie a bow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this up here near the top of this. I'm going to put a glue dot. Hopefully there's one on here. Yeah. I never said I was coordinated. Okay, I'm going to put that glue dot underneath where I tied that. And that is supposed to help hold that in place a little while I tie. Okay, I didn't leave myself very much ribbon to work with. And okay, I'm going to leave it as is, and we'll take off our dimensionals. And this will go like that. Okay. I thought that was really pretty. Looking to see. No, I did not put an inside on it. I guess I thought this was going to take long enough. I'm going to get my Elegant Gems that I colored with my dark Blackberry Bliss marker. And we'll put that in there. So today we worked with the Wild Roses background. We made 3 different cards. So let me bring those back in. We made this one that we stamped on the wood-looking paper from In Good Taste. You could do the this is the gold glitter gems, and on this one I added the ladybugs, and then we also did this one that we stamped with navy blue, Night of Navy, and then we used the Granny Apple Green, Night of Navy, even though that looks purple, Night of Navy, and Poppy Parade. So those are the 3 cards that we made, and I hope you like those. Again, I am Joanne Hewins. Oops, just moved the camera. From lovetocreate.typepad.com. You can go to my blog if you're interested in ordering supplies. I would love to help you. Love to help you earn some free celebration items too, because there's some really neat things there. If you would like, I would appreciate it if you would share this with your friends. And I'll see you next next Wednesday. This is Wednesday, isn't it? Next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.